We're inviting you to enjoy Britain's most beautiful gardens as chosen by some of our most prominent personalities. Whether they're writers, politicians or broadcasters, these luminaries are also some of the nation's greatest garden lovers. But who is unlocking the key to their favourite garden today? We've come to Surrey to visit RHS Wisley, which has been chosen by a well-known personality as their favourite garden. We'll find out why as our famous figure takes a personal journey around these glorious gardens. For over 100 years, Wisley has been the flagship garden of the Royal Horticultural Society, which aims to educate gardeners of all abilities. Wisley provides a practical and scientific school of horticulture, while the garden inspires literally thousands of green-fingered enthusiasts. Among them is a well-loved comic actress. She began her career as a stand-up comedienne, but soon became a star of stage and screen. She's best known for her appearances in the French and Saunders show and Absolutely Fabulous, but today it's her love of Wisley that's taking the limelight.
The first time I came here, you can't help but be blown away. I mean, there are no buildings in view. This is all green, beautifully looked after green, and it's never crowded. You can just wander around. It's kind of like a display case of different plants, not just for people who know masses about horticulture, of which I don't, but just gives you great ideas, and it's so accessible. It's wonderful.
Today, Helen will be taking a nostalgic tour of Wisley, recalling some very special moments along the way. She'll uncover the garden's fascinating history and meet the experts who tend to its multitude of species. And she'll satisfy her thirst for discovery as she gets her latest lesson in gardening. It will continue a journey of learning that began when Helen bought her family home in South London.
Well, a few years ago, my new husband and I were looking for our dream house. We found our dream house, ticked all the boxes, and then we saw the garden. And it was just nothing. It was just like gravel. Didn't even have any grass in it. So having realised it was wasteland and not like proper garden, we thought maybe we should go to some garden centres where there are plants. So we did that. And if you don't really know what you're doing, you can buy plants, but it's like a drop in the ocean. It's not going to make a garden, you know, the feel of a garden.
Struggling for inspiration, Helen came to Wisley, which she'd visited once before as a teenager.
Well, there we were with our new house that looked a little bit like a swimming pool or a library from the outside with all this horrible gravel, like Camber Sands. Came here and just got this kind of surge of enthusiasm for plants and what we could do. We could see how gardens could work, actually, the whole layout, choice of plants. You could ask questions of people. We could see how a garden could work. We saw these soft greys of the cobbles. We saw the combination of these lovely grasses. So we copied them and got sort of darker grey cobbles, just because they're relaxing to the eye. And there's a bench there. We copied them, 2 bits of wood and another bit of wood across. So simple. We've got real plants that actually grow. It's very pretty. People actually say they like our garden. And we haven't had like some huge design or anything sorted out. We've actually sort of almost done it ourselves. It's a really satisfying feeling to have created something from nothing. I look at it and I go, it's right. And that's really nice.
These inspirational gardens occupy 240 acres of prime land in the Surrey village of Wisley, near London. The garden is divided into several separate sections, linked by lush lawns, hedges and trees. With everything from an arboretum to a vegetable garden, Wisley covers most aspects of gardening and provides an unbeatable learning ground. Much of Helen's inspiration came from the Model Gardens area, where 8 themed plots demonstrate a variety of design ideas and planting schemes.
All these model gardens have the same plants that you can buy in the garden centres. But unless you see them laid out and sort of juxtaposed in this way, because they're all bunched together, aren't they, with the green bits, and you have to know what you're going to buy. But if you don't really know anything, you have to come here and you just see it and you go, I want some of this, you know, and it's possible to have it.
Wisley is one of 4 gardens belonging to the Royal Horticultural Society, which began life in 1804. The charity's first garden was at Chiswick in West London, but by the end of the 19th century, the area was suffering from heavy pollution. Salvation came from a wealthy Quaker called Sir Thomas Hanbury. And when he gave the Society 60 acres of Surrey land in 1904, Wisley Garden was born. Within a decade, Wisley was transformed, and at its heart was a purpose-built research centre and a school of horticulture.
The first thing that confronts you when you arrive here at Wisley is this amazing, almost Tudor-looking building. And when you look at it, it's kind of Enid Blyton. You sort of think 5 young children will be bounding out, having tea on the lawn. But in fact, it was a purpose-built laboratory for the sole purpose of, well, scientists discovering amazing things about plants. It's not a Tudor mansion at all, but it looks gorgeous.
Over the course of its history, RHS Wisley has quadrupled in size. And these days it plays host to 700,000 visitors per year. Anna Tompkins is one of Wisley's staff, and she helps promote the garden's century-old reputation.
So the aim has always been at Wisley to sort of showcase plants, to discover plants, to study plants.
Yes, yeah, and to put them in a horticultural setting. It isn't just a collection of botanic plants, it's to actually put them in a setting to create a garden. You're standing at the rock garden at the moment. It was one of the first areas created by the RHS when they were given the garden.
So tell me about the origins of the RHS.
The RHS was founded in 1804 by a select few of gentlemen in London. They were all senior gardeners, either in royal parks or gardens or other senior gardens across the country. They had a keen interest on preserving gardens and plants, and so they set up what was, I think, the Horticultural Society. It didn't gain its royal name until later on.
Do you think this is quite unique in that it's encouraging people who would never have access to a garden or awareness to come? It's for those people, do you think?
It is. I think the idea about Wisley is that you can see so many different types of horticulture in one place, and because we don't have any historical background like many other historical properties, we don't have to keep everything the same. So as times change, we can just come along, take something out and replace it with something new. And that's quite exciting. It gives people a chance to experiment a bit more. We may not change the rock garden, I have to admit.
Because that's its first,
We change, we add little bits on and we do small changes. But the model gardens, about every 5 years, one completely gets ripped out and it gets replanted.
It's very exciting.
So that's nice.
Amongst Wisley's sprawling 240 acres, there's one memorable spot that takes Helen back to her first visit.
This tree is particularly significant to me because this tree is where I shared a kiss with my boyfriend when I was a sociology student. And we did this trip out, and it was a very measured thing to do, come out to Wisley for the afternoon. And it was just a really lovely, romantic thing to do that wasn't very studenty at all. Remembering moments like that so long ago when you really didn't have any worries at all, except which party you should go to that night. And just sharing something very intimate and very young, but in a very grown-up, special place. It was really nice. Gardens are romantic because they're away from everything else. There's no telephone, there's no buildings. It's a very sort of ethereal experience. So obviously kissing will come into it. There's a great intimacy about being outside. You can talk about anything. It's just time out from normal life. And yeah, I think lots of things happened here. Maybe we even made promises to each other that neither of us kept. Looking at the tree now, it's got all this triangulated vine, which I don't remember, and it's called a Quercus roba, which I don't think we probably would have had the time to notice, but at least it's there for posterity. And we didn't do anything terrible like carve our initials on. I don't think we noticed the tree so much. We just We're under it, kissing.
Beyond her career as a comedienne and actress, Helen has become a well-respected wine columnist, and her fascination with the subject gives her another reason to love Wisley.
What's special about Wisley is that they have their own vineyard, and as they grow their own fruits, they're growing their own wine. I mean, what could be better? Me and wine.
Wisley's 5-acre vineyard was planted 3 years ago and is looked after by dedicated viticulturalist Ali Valsecki.
The RHS has always been a little bit put off by the fact of growing vines in this country because the climate has never been really that suitable.
Not warm enough?
Not warm enough, the summer wasn't long enough, too much rain. So with the fact of climate changing in a way and summer getting warmer, I made these things come through. So we decided to plant these vines here.
Which grape varieties?
They are Phoenix and Orion. They're 2 hybrids, and we chose those 2 particular ones because they are disease resistant.
So they're sturdy.
They are strong and tough. In particular, they're resistant to mildew, powdery and downy mildew, which is a big pain for the vines.
So this would make a white wine, basically?
It would make a white wine, yes.
They're white grapes together?
Yes, they're white grapes, and we can make the wine out of a combination of the 2, or if we get enough tonnage, of course, one of Phoenix and one of Orion.
So what do you have to do to make these grapes digestible?
Digestible, this is a very cute word.
Or growable?
Growable, yes. We haven't been doing too much to them, really. Once they planted, thanks to their very well extended root system, they start to spread roots throughout the ground and they find any little bit of water or nutrient is present.
When can I drink this wine?
Well, if you're lucky, you might get a bottle by New Year.
We're in Surrey, where comedienne Helen Lederer has chosen the RHS Gardens at Wisley as her favourite garden.
It just turns negative into positive, which you have to survive quite a sort of competitive minority job.
We've learnt about Wisley's educational aims, and Helen has had her own private lesson in viticulture.
When can I drink this wine?
Well, if you're lucky, you might get a bottle by New Year.
When Helen bought her current home in the year 2000, it was the first time she'd had a proper garden since living at home with her parents.
The house that I grew up in was in southeast London, and we had a big garden, and we had a gardener called Mr. Crick. So that's probably why I don't know how to garden. This was another eon, another time, back in the 60s, 50s and 60s. But I do remember sitting in the terrace of the garden, and I remember my sister reading Lolita, and we used to have drinks on the terrace, and then we'd go down into a rose garden, and then we'd back onto a golf course, and we used to taunt the golfers that would come by. When I was about 10, I decided I wanted to have a fete in the garden, so my parents went along with it, which is unbelievable, for charity. And it was big enough to have all these different stalls, and I invited George Harrison to come and open it, but he didn't reply, so he didn't come. But a lot of other people did. So we had this big garden in a very suburban house, and a very sort of ideal upbringing, really. But when you're young, I don't think you appreciate. You grow up with it, so you don't necessarily appreciate it.
But as a suburban parent, Helen has a renewed appreciation for the importance of gardens.
I have a daughter who's now 16, called Hannah, who came to Wisley when she was about 10. And it is lovely for us to have a garden so she can be with her friends in the way that I was with my friends. And in London, you know, there are commons, there are parks, there are places for them to gather together. But it's really nice for her to be able to have her friends round, especially when it's sunny.
Wisley's incredible range of plants and species is looked after by a team of 80 specialist gardeners. Bernard Boardman is one of those experts, and he's particularly fond of the herb garden.
We're looking at one of the most useful herbs that you can grow. If you can't grow anything else, I really would recommend that you grow this one. It's Ostium basilicum, or sweet basil. I like to use it in my greenhouse, actually as a whitefly repellent, so I grow lots of this stuff I plant it in amongst my tomatoes, which I later flavour with the basil. But while it's all growing, it definitely helps keep the whitefly away. It's very important, especially when the basil plants are young, that you pinch out the leading shoots. And by that I mean these little shoots here, the tips of the plant. If I pinch that out, just like that, taking that away, what I will get now are 2 branches, so that we make the plant really, really bushy.
Another sweet-smelling resident of the herb garden is lavender, but keeping it in tip-top condition requires careful pruning.
There's the older, darker wood, and here's the younger, newer wood. Now, lavender doesn't like being cut back into that really old wood, so it's important that we make our pruning cuts somewhere around here. You could, if you only had a very small bush, cut each branch with a pair of secateurs, but you really don't need to be as fiddly as that, because you'll need the lavender to calm you down afterwards. It'll drive you nuts. Just get a pair of shears, an ordinary pair of garden shears, and trim the plant back. It'll look horrible, but it'll thank you for it.
Wisley has given Helen the confidence to create the perfect garden for her South London home, but it's also provided a necessary haven from her demanding career.
The world I've ended up in of writing and performing is the one that I really always wanted to do. I just felt that was, if I could get away with it, if I could kind of break even financially, then that would be my dream job. And I'm very lucky to be able to do that. Doing stand-up comedy is quite an intense experience. It's a very nocturnal existence. You know, you perform at night, you drink at night. There were good nights and bad nights, and the bad nights you'd go home and eat lots of chocolate in the garage and just, oh my God, die. And then the good nights you go, you know what, this isn't so bad. The lifestyle does take a lot of commitment, and when you're young and you're starting out, there's no reason why you don't give your all. When you have a family life, that's harder. I don't like being away from home, but I look back and I love what I've done, even the bad bits, even the cringe-making bits. I wouldn't have chosen any other way or any other life. A garden can do so much. It takes you out of your own environment, of the hustle and bustle, of the worry, of the bad habits we form, you know, repetitive worry just because you're in the habit of worrying. It's almost like being on holiday, that feeling where you go, oh, anything's possible. I might read a book, I might do this, I might do that. Whereas in ordinary life, you don't think that. You don't create space for yourself. You always feel a little bit closer to who you are and where you came from. Sometimes when you're writing, and I write a monthly column, sometimes it goes like a dream, and I can write it fast and it all happens. And other times, for some strange reason, you just get stuck and no sentence works. Everything feels pedestrian and dull and complicated. And something like taking, you know, a couple of hours walking around a garden is so much more valuable than sort of spending more time trying to wrestle with your brain that's just basically misbehaving. It sort of scrambles, it de-scrambles your brain.
RHS Wisley makes a great day out for almost any garden lover, and it's easy to reach. By road, it's just 5 minutes from junction 10 of the M25, and the nearby Woking train station has regular services to and from London's Waterloo. The garden is open all year round except for Christmas Day, and entrance is free if you're a member of the RHS. If you're in the area, the 18th century gardens at nearby Painshill Park are also worth a visit. At Wisley, though, budding wine enthusiast Helen is trying to learn some tricks of the trade.
This is their first year of cropping, so they're still in growing, they're still in training system. We want to reduce the number of bunches in order to cause them less stress. The thinning helps to gain better fruit size, better fruit quality.
The quality per grape.
The quality per bunch of grape. So what we're doing here is, you can see on this shoot, we have more than one bunch. There's the primary bunch, second and third bunch. Now, in order to improve the quality, we want to remove everything above the primary bunch. Primary bunch will be the first to ripe.
Yep.
And will be the one that will accumulate more sugar content because it's the first one that's come through. So we will have to remove all those
And
others. How we do this? Well, funny enough, I've got lots of key with me.
Look at you.
And
Oh, my
secateurs, very important, basic toy for us.
Yes.
And I'm going to hand them to you.
Thank you.
And what we do is simply remove the bunches. So
You
you
do it
go in with your
first.
secateurs.
How far do you go into the stem?
As close as you can.
As close as
really.
you can, because you
But,
don't. It's like cutting off the blood supply, isn't it?
Anyway.
So here, yeah, I'm going
Yes.
in. I'm going in.
Go in.
I'm sorry, little
Go
grapes.
through.
Off they go. And
And
so
there we
this,
go.
what happens to these?
They just go to the floor and they rot away.
Can I remove some
You
more? I
can,
rather like it.
yes. This one should not be there.
Okay, he's
This one
going.
here.
He's going.
Yes,
Okay,
so it's
I'm
going
ready.
off.
Going into his blood supply's artery.
And there we
He's
go.
dead.
He's dead. And then this one here should go too.
Okay, it's going. I'm just letting that fall
Go, go,
naturally.
go.
Yeah.
Here we are.
That's fantastic.
So we have thinned the crop, and hopefully all those will come to ripen, and they will have a decent enough sugar
Wisley
content,
wine.
and it'll be Wisley wine.
How long? We have to wait a few months and we'll be drinking him.
We have to wait a few months, and we'll be drinking. Yes.
Helen has been visiting Wisley for 30 years, and whether as a love-struck student, a struggling gardener, or an aspiring winemaker, she's always found the inspiration she needs.
Wisley's been very important to me because when you come back, it's a reminder of taking time out, of being with your family, of shutting down all the problems in the world, in your day-to-day world. It's a place to get inspired for my own garden. And it's a reminder that the people who work here are actually thinking and dedicated to bringing gardens to everyone, to the masses, if you like.